Hi everyone, I am Shay Rachelle. Ashley Nicole is on production today. Today's show is called Inspiration for the Heart. This is beyond incredible. Today's date is December 13th. We are located live, 720 Ouellette Ave at the Business Accelerator in the lounge. And I am here with the very awesome motivational speaker, Miss Ashley Bergeron. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Now, I want to start right off to tell everybody kind of what you do and why you're so good at it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're a motivational speaker, right?
Yeah, motivational / inspirational speaker, I guess.
Right.
Everyone's got their own opinion of what a speaker's title really is. I like to use the word inspirational kind of hand in hand because really, when I say inspirational, it's like I'm talking to your heart versus motivational. It's like, you get fired up and you really move the audience. So it kind of goes hand in hand, but basically, I want to inspire teens and, of course, everyone to really just be the person that they've always wanted to be, and overcome whatever it is that they struggled with.
And mainly, what is it that you're speaking about?
Mental wellness.
Mental wellness.
So that's kind of an umbrella of many topics, not only just mental illness, but personal empowerment or whatever it is that people do to stay mentally well.
Right, and that's something that's really, it's always been around. It's being talked about more than ever. I mean, even within Hollywood, there's people that haven't been able to deal with it as well. There have been a high number of suicides, and it doesn't discriminate. These people are very wealthy. They seem like they have great lives, but mental health issues affect everyone. So what's your greatest bit of advice that you can give people struggling?
I think the first bit of advice for any kind of mental illness is not to be afraid of it. Right. So many people hear that label and they get totally freaked out and think that they're going to be judged, without even telling anyone. So, not to be afraid, and that's really important, because when you are so scared of that stigma, then you make bad choices. Right. You don't reach out, when you should really be, telling people and for the concern of your health,
Very much so. And this is something that you've struggled with personally?
Yes.
Yeah. And how, when did you kind of know that it was happening? A lot of people deny it and don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, I knew in grade 12 of high school, actually, when I started. It was kind of when it really got real and more physical, I'd say. It wasn't just the mental aspect, it was more of the physical and emotional and cognitive symptoms of mental illness. And it started with a depression. I wasn't happy at all. It was sad, and for the first time in my life, I was an emotional person, and that was really weird. Yeah. And just not being able to handle the day-to-day things, such as getting a ton of homework or something. And I made bad choices and became reckless and used negative coping skills. Yeah. Right.
Would you say school was a big part of that, the pressure on you?
Yeah, I think that was in school. That was definitely a trigger for sure. Especially in grade 12, right? You have to get your life figured out. You have to pick that course from the manual, right?
A lot of pressure. Yeah, I was a perfectionist, so I was just like, oh my goodness, all this stress and homework, but you got to deal with it, right?
God forbid if you don't get an A,
Exactly. Oh my goodness, yeah. To me, I was always like, A is for average. What are you talking about? It was bad. But you kind of deal with it and realize, just take a breath. Yeah. And things will get easier.
Yeah, there's things that I find just aren't really taught in school as far as your self healing, with stress and things like that. So what do you do when you literally have 3 tests in one day and you're cramming all your homework on top of that?
Exactly.
So it's a lot of pressure for students.
Yeah, and some people are working too while going to school, and God bless the ones that have little ones, a little early in life and have to deal with that as well.
Yeah,
so there's
and home stress, there's just so much that's put on people. And
for sure. Now, what is something that you did? What's the first thing you did when you realized? Did you get help right away, or did you struggle for a while?
No, it was one of those kinds of depressions that came in really hard, really fast. So I know sometimes it's drawn out for, say, years and years on end, but no, it came in really quickly. And at first I denied it, right? Like, oh, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then when I started realizing that, I was really self-conscious about my body, and I was taking drastic measures to either, be skinnier or just not look at the mirror. It was really difficult, and I used self-harm for a while, trying to cope with things, and developed an eating disorder. And I think there was one day that really stood out to me that I needed help, and looking in the mirror and believing with every being in my fiber that I had gained 50 pounds overweight, overnight, which is unrealistic. But
that's what you thought in your head, right?
My mindset was like that. And at that day, I was just like, no, I need help or something, because I'm going to do something really stupid and regret that.
Exactly. So. Now, what did you do? Did you make a call? Was it something, a self-reflection?
Actually, I'm really grateful my mom had done that, because, you know, and I'll share this, is that I was like in the bathroom in the morning getting ready for school, like I always did, and I just remember breaking down in tears and just not understanding it. You know, I was saying things like, I want to give up, and I don't want to go to school, and I can't do this, can't do that. And she recognized that and made the call for me. So I didn't really have to say anything, you know, I just said, like, I can't go on like this.
That's great. And you accepted, you know, that help as well, which is good. That's also important. You have to accept the help and, you know, admit there may be an issue there that you need to deal with, so you don't do something harmful, even more so to yourself. Now, with the motivational speaking, when did that start?
My first ever speech in front of an audience was actually this year, and February 10th, I think, was the exact day.
Right.
And that was at my old high school. Now, when I went there, I didn't have intentions of it being a business and me being a businesswoman or anything like that. It was more so just going back and paying what I felt I had to do. I wanted those kids to know what I was going through when I was sitting in their chairs, you know, because it was so real for me. And that was the same chairs that I sat in, you know. So it was really important for me to do that. And I did, you know, I contacted the campus minister at my school and went and spoke the first time, and then went back again. And then I went to couple other schools, and I'm like, wow, it's such a purpose for me. It wasn't just a passion. Like I loved it, but it was more so I had to do it. You know, it was kind of crazy to see the kids come up to me, and you know, they made it real to me that was something I meant to do. Is share the story.
Yeah, you must have a lot of people coming up to you and just saying thank you.
Yeah,
for being
it's
so honest.
quite unreal. It really is.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what projects do you work on to kind of get the word out there?
Well, right now I just actually did a switch from going as Ashley's Hero, which was my other business,
I saw that
to just my name. And the reason being is because I want to keep Ashley's Hero as a project strictly for youth, so teens, say like 16 to 24 years old. And the name Ashley's Hero stems from the fact that everyone has the ability to be my hero, knowing that the people that are just genuinely nice and helped me reach out is the people that were my hero.
That's beautiful.
So the acronym HERO, I created to stand for helping everyone reach out.
Yeah, I love that. And you made that up yourself?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And so how long you've been doing this, you say, for almost a year now?
Yep.
Okay.
I technically got the name in April.
Okay. So how many times have you done the public speaking and getting out there, would you say? Or too many to remember?
I want to say it's for sure 8 in front of teen audiences.
Wow, that's a lot.
So that's, you know, and then I did adult audiences too. So I will say teens like 8, and then adults, that's some other number.
Right. Are you looking to make a career out of this? Be like a life coach type of thing? Yeah.
Exactly. I was thinking, you know, of being a life coach later on in life or something. Because I just love to sit one-on-one with people too, you know? Yeah. Kind of a mentorship type.
For sure. And there's no age limit or anything like that. You talk to all, because you said sort of like teens and you go to colleges too?
Yeah. I'm working on it.
Yeah,
I would love to,
Okay, we'll get the word out there for sure.
For sure, you know. And mental wellness is a topic for all ages.
It really is.
Teens, or youth, I should say, they are 30% of the population now, but they are 100% of the future. So it's very important to focus on teens, and that's why I'm not limiting myself to any selective group.
Right, because we can talk about, you know, different types of mental illness. Of course, there's depression. I think that affects everybody at some point in their life. And then there's, you know, schizophrenia, things like that. I mean, what other ones have you kind of heard from people?
Yeah, schizophrenia, you know, suicidality, depression and anxiety are the most common ones by far. But schizophrenia has come up a bunch, and even just, it's kind of self-diagnosed mental illnesses in a sense that kids just aren't happy, you know, like, you know, I've had so many kids ask me, what do you do if you're just always angry at the world, right? And I'm like, I guess if they've never been diagnosed, but I'm like, you deserve every bit of happiness that you can get. So it's worth going to counseling for, you know, something like that. And
for sure.
Yeah, so.
Well, what would you say are the warning signs? Like, because, you know, as teens, your hormones are going crazy, and you're kind of, you know, you can get just angry for no reason. Doesn't mean there's a problem. But what would you say is the warning sign where it could be, you know, an issue?
I think the first warning signs is when you don't feel authentic. You know, if that's kind of key. Like, you should be comfortable just the way you are. And I know everyone's got their insecurities, and to an extent, it's quite normal. But if you have you know, a solid week where you just really don't feel comfortable in your body, and then that carries on and it carries on. Those are the first warning signs, I think. And it's one thing to have a bad day, but when it becomes a bad week and a bad month, then, you know, be concerned. And it's definitely curable. But I mean, like I said, you deserve happiness, so why not do something about that and take responsibility?
Right. Now, what would you encourage people to do to kind of get counseling, make that phone call? Because what number did you end up, what people did you end up talking to?
See, it's a funny story. There was no counseling services offered at my school.
Oh, no, that's important.
It was due to a funding issue, I think. So had I, you know, gotten the courage to talk to them, I'm sure they would have directed me somewhere, but I was too afraid to talk to, like, my principal or whatever I would have gone to. But I went through my church, actually, and I ended up getting counseling from an elderly nun that was, you know, the sweetest lady ever.
It couldn't be better. Oh, my goodness, what a beautiful
story. She was like a grandmother to me. So it was kind of an untraditional way of getting counseling and getting help, but you know what? I'm an untraditional person.
Okay. Well, I guess for people that aren't so lucky, I mean, there's numbers you can call, right?
Yeah, and there's so many people that even if they can't physically help you, then they will find someone that can.
Yeah, we've got the kids helpline. We do always, you know, talk about that. It's been around for years. When I was a kid, it's 1-800-668-6868. That's on the screen there. And the Canadian Mental Health Association number is 519-255-7400. So that's another one you can call. Have you ever dealt with somebody that's wanting to commit suicide? Yeah, and they go to you and it's like, so where would you direct them?
The first place that I direct them to is to inform their school. So either I do it anonymously or try to get them to do it, which often case won't happen. So I'll do it anonymously, because even though, like, I desperately want to help them and I do everything it takes, you know, I'm not qualified to, you know, heal them in such ways. So
but people are like, well, I'm comfortable talking to you, why do I have to talk to somebody else?
And that's, you know, you get that a lot, and it's like, you know, I understand, but really I just want for their safety. And so school is usually number one if they're in school, because I mean, you spend like 8 hours a day in school, right? So that's number one, and then if that won't work for whatever reason, then contact their parents or something. For sure.
And what about the funding for the school now? Have you looked into that? Has that been taken care of?
It's different with each board, I believe.
Okay.
Catholic boards have a bit of harder time, like, getting funding for different things. So that's important, as far as my understanding goes.
People, I guess, need to look into that, because that, you know, it starts from a young age, and then, you know, it doesn't just go away if you don't take care of it. So I think the funding in schools for that, like a program, a mental health program and aid for kids, would really help.
And there's so much going on nowadays for mental wellness. It's just a matter of making the students aware of it. Like, I volunteer for a Canadian Mental Health Association, and I've been on the planning committee for a really big event that had just passed, and it's so amazing and so heartwarming to see that all these organizations are coming together to make a difference in youth today.
Right.
You know, and there's like Teen Health Center and New Beginnings, and God, so many have at least a mental health section that can do something about it.
And are you affiliated with any of those?
I work in collaboration, but I'm not attached to anything. So
you're your own businesswoman, and
it gives me, you know, playroom, I'll say.
For sure. Now, would you say your attitude was different, like, during the seasons? Because I know people struggle with it. It's winter.
The winter blues are definitely real.
I know, right? I mean, the weather's been sort of nice, but, you know, it's going to snow, and you know, everybody gets it. You feel snowed in, you feel trapped a little bit, and
for sure.
There's not enough things to do. You can't go places.
And that's it, right? You feel so limited, and it's like you, yourself, and I at home. What are you going to do? And
exactly.
You know, people get on the train of thought, and it just goes from there. And you know, currently, like, you have bad days, right? You know, I just kind of understand now that it's kind of my responsibility to be happy and control my emotions, so they're not managing me, you know.
Now, a definite thing I want to talk about, a lot of people that struggle with mental illness, you go get help and they push prescription drugs on you. Now, I don't know how you feel about that. There's been a lot of argument, especially within Hollywood, and, you know, with friends and things like that, getting addicted to prescription drugs. Now, what do you think about that? Is that...
that I definitely understand what you're saying, and that seems to be a common thing happening. So many kids I talk to that are, you know, even 12 and younger, getting just prescribed antidepressants, and I don't know, I've been on medication for a little bit of a time, but I didn't like it, you know, like the fact of taking...
It can make you feel kind of like just so blah, and...
So I think if it's some people take it strictly to fall asleep at night, because I know I had the insomnia issue when I was depressed. So
me too, right
in
now.
that way, I guess it's good, because you know, sleep is going to make you mentally well in the long run. But there's so many different things that you can self-research, like say on the internet, that are healthy coping mechanisms. And I learned so many things just from doing that. And as long as you're, you know, taking the positive coping mechanisms, not the negative, obviously.
Right.
I think it's almost important for kids to discover like self-help and really learn who they are and what they need to be happy.
I know. I think you'll kind of know within yourself too what you need. You just kind of take a look in the mirror and say, is it something that you can fix on your own, or do you think you need a little extra boost, which could be the prescription from a doctor, of course. So, you know, you might need that. And if not, well, then, you know, you can do it on your own. But what I was going to say, too, is, I was talking to this girl once. I had this job where I was, you know, talking about job fairs and things like that, and offering positions to people that had posted their resume online. And this one girl, I was trying to offer her a job, and she's like, is it dealing with people? I only want to deal with animals and in a setting like where I'm not dealing with people. And I talked to her for about 15 minutes, and I was just like, you know, you really got to get out of, you know, the box and think bigger and not be so negative when it comes to doing different jobs, because, you know, that, I don't know, it'll keep you...
That's a funny example that you use, because I was just like that. Like,
really?
I've been working at an animal hospital for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I still work there as like a part-time job, and just 'cause I know I do love animals.
Yes.
But in high school, I chose that as my career. I'm like, I only want to work with animals because I don't like talking to people and all these things. And funny thing is, like, I was in college for a little bit in the vet technician course, and then one thing clicked, and then next thing you know, I'm like, I'm gonna be a speaker. Like,
oh my goodness,
because I spoke at the high school. I'm like, wow, it's such a purpose. So I went in 11 months, literally. I went from being the shyest person in the room to speaking in front of an audience. So wow, God, what the power of purpose can do.
I know. I was gonna say, I used to be painfully shy. Like, I literally used to wish to be invisible, and I was like, I don't. I was just like, please don't talk to me. Like, I would just like pray before somebody came up to me.
Yeah, it's like you want to wear a cape. Or
something. And now I'm just like, hi. Like, it's just you just one day it clicks, and then things change. So she was just, I ended up, it wasn't good. She didn't want to do the job or anything. She wanted to stick with that. But, you know, people like that, I just say, you know, you've got to try new things and not be so afraid. I think it was an anxiety thing for her. That's another thing. It may not be like schizophrenia or depression or anything, but the anxiety, it's just like an overwhelming feeling of don't come near me. You know, like talking in front of people is a huge thing. Like, people are like, how do you talk? They associate it with so much pain based on their past experience when they were in, say, grade 2 and they were really stumbling, and God, that's normal, you know? Right.
And I remember, like, nearly choking in front of an audience at school, right? It happens. So it's just kind of funny how, and those things carry through if you don't deal with them.
And now you're that person that everybody looks up to.
It's kind of surreal.
Big deal, I know. Now you get a lot of support on Facebook. I saw your Facebook page. You have great feedback, and everybody loves what you do. Now, what's coming up next for you?
What's coming up next? I got a holiday break, so that's good. I think there's quite a few events in February. I'm speaking at a Christian high school in Leamington.
Wonderful.
I'm also speaking at this new project that's going around called Project Blast. And I don't know if you've heard of it, but it is brilliant, and I'm going to take a little bit of time to share it. And what it is, it's almost a team of volunteers that are, most of them are from the Faculty of Education at the University of Windsor. And they deal with mental health and bullying in a day of school. Basically, they run icebreaker games and interactive games for the students, and it starts off very fun, but then it goes into more vulnerable topics to get the kids open. And and you know, like a line game where the kids step on a line if this applies to them, and then step off the line, and
so it's an interactive thing too.
And it's so moving to see these kids in silence of just stepping on a line. They learn so much about each other, right?
So they don't talk, it's just if you feel this, then you step up.
That's one of the games. And you know,
I like that.
It was crazy. And I spoke to share my story. There was one in November. And they spoke afterward if they wanted to share their story. And I can't believe how many of them did. And like heartbreaking things. And I was crying. It was so crazy.
Okay. Now, have you ever gone to a mental health institution or anything to kind of see what can happen if it's not dealt with or anything? Because I kind of like to push myself into things like that, and kind of get to know people on a very intimate level?
Yeah, that's
Have you ever
I've
been?
never been asked that question before, and that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right? But it's true, because there's people that have just, just nothing could click for them, and
I don't
the
know.
self-awareness
I feel like
wasn't
that'd
there.
be very difficult to see.
It would.
I mean, I know there's situations, severe cases that are still like at home and not in the hospital, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That would be something.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something to think about, because I am a spokesmodel for a campaign. It's called the Huge Campaign. So it's a positive behavior and anti-bullying campaign. And people like you, we love to say you're a very huge person. You seem like a very good person with your head on your shoulders. You've done amazing things for yourself. So yeah, you should be very proud of that. So I mean, with that, I would definitely like to say that with anti-bullying and all that, like I said, the positive behavior and anti-bullying, is that something that you talk about with people too? Because with somebody with a mental health illness problem, they like to say, don't bully people, things like that, and it can make it worse, and that can definitely contribute to suicide.
Oh, for sure. It's all labels and expectations that we have for ourselves. And I know I was someone that always had to be the best at something. So if I wasn't, then not only would I be belittled by either classmates or whoever else.
Because people don't get it, and then they use, they say things like crazy and,
and you
what
start
the heck's
to believe
wrong with you?
after a while. You really do. And, that word fat, that is literally,
the worst
it's just
word ever.
It's a three-letter word.
And when you're using it in that, it's not PH. It's,
there's
nothing good about being called that. I'm sorry. It's And for even guys too, but girls take it to heart.
Oh, true.
Yeah. No.
And it's just labels, right? And I tell kids too, it's like, even your name, right? Like, don't let yourself be defined by your job title or your name or whatever it is. Like, you make the definition of who you are. Yeah. And that's reality, right? Yeah. You get to choose every day who you're going to be. Yeah. So if you want to one day wear your hair green, like, go for it. As long as you're happy. Like, Yeah, oh, for sure. I know schools have changed so much, even from when I went. The things, the way kids look now, it's cool. I mean, as long as you're not wearing things on your shirt to offend people or anything like that, everybody can be who they want, right? Wear your hair in a rainbow if you want. Yeah. What else do you kind of talk about? So it's any age group. You're kind of working your way up to talk to college students. Yep. Yeah. And I know when I've spoken to adult audiences, I've talked on personal power. Right. And it's a stretch from mental wellness in a way, because a lot of people hear the word power and freak out, right? Thinking that if you have personal power, it means like you want to conquer the world and everything. Yeah, some people are like, I don't want to do that. It sometimes scares people, and right? It's just another label. And I talk about finding that drive inside you that's going to make you achieve the goal no matter what. Yeah. And it's not about leading the world into bad places. It's not about that. It's just about finding that spark inside you that's going to make you so driven to achieve what it is that you want. Because, that's what I felt I tapped into. It's just that like burst or that power that made me go after my goals without anyone stopping me. And, it literally becomes your life. And it's not a burden. It's just, I don't know, it's like personal power, I guess. Yeah, exactly. We're not telling you to be a world leader or anything like that. No. But, so, I mean, it's been great having you here and all of that. What are you working towards? What am I working towards? I have really big dreams. I feel like when I look at the big picture, it's kind of overwhelming. You know, I want to do all these things. And I'm so grateful that I got started at a young age and that something happened in a way that got me pushed forward. And I just want to obviously inspire like millions of people through speaking, but even outside of speaking, like I want to be that person that makes them feel better just by their presence, and I constantly give people positive affirmation simply because I have that in me too. Like I want to constantly pour from my heart and to fill their heart up, Yes, exactly. That's beautiful, honestly. Yeah. Now, I want to stress again, what do we want people to do if they're dealing with this? Call a number, deal with it right away. If they feel comfortable, or if even they can get a friend to call for them. I've done that a couple times. Where I've called Canadian Mental Health and say, look, I've got a friend, and then A, B, and C, and and it doesn't happen right away. So you said a couple of times, so it's true. It might take a couple times, but it's worth it. Some people are afraid because of the money thing, or they can't get a ride there, and there are programs offered for free. Okay, well that's true. I didn't know it had anything to do with money. So yes, there are free programs out there. So don't think it's always about money. You don't have to pay to get well. So there's the numbers on the screen again.
for the Canadian Mental Health Association and the Kids Helpline. So definitely if you're dealing with something, then give them a call. And the Kids Helpline, I just want to make sure it's a 1-800-668-6868. And the Health Association, 519-255-7400. So again, thank you so much, Ashley, for being here. Appreciate it. Yes. And I want to just make a little mention first. There's a ticket draw for the Windsor Express tickets. To enter, you like our Knockstrom Digital Media or the Beyond Incredible, which is our show. We have a Facebook page now, so go and like that page. And also the Knockstrom Digital Media page. Ashley, you have a Facebook page?
It's Ashley Bergeron.
Yeah, so
it's my name.
Yeah, so it's your name, and people can go check you out there and see what you're up to. Definitely follow her. She's up to some amazing things, so keep up with that.
Facebook's a good way to update things. It's probably the easiest.
It is. Yeah, I have my website out now. I got surprised with that last Saturday, so it's www.loveshay.com, and then I have Love Shay Rachelle on Facebook. So yeah, go like our pages.
Awesome.
All right,
guys, I'm going to add to this ticket draw here. The ticket draw is actually for the Clash of the Coliseum. It's happening at Caesars Windsor on January. There's two different tickets. One's for the 27th and December 27th. Those are 2 tickets, regular tickets. Kids on that day, 13 under, are free, so it doesn't count for kids. And then we have tickets for the Clash of the Coliseum, which happens in January. You can keep posted, you can keep updated by our Facebook pages, like Shay said there, Knockstrom on Facebook, or you can like Beyond Incredible. If you like Beyond Incredible, write a post and you would automatically get into the draw, just like Knockstrom Digital Media. Again, that's 2 tickets for December 27th and 1 for the Clash of the Coliseum. Sorry, 2 for the Clash of the Coliseum.
Right.
And I'm sorry, miss you guys.
Thanks, Ashley. All right, and of course the deadline to enter this draw is midnight on Thursday. So December 18th, and the winner will be randomly drawn and notified via Facebook on Friday, December 19th. So definitely follow our pages because that's how you're going to get the updates. So this is for the Clash of the Coliseum. It's an amazing game. I saw it last year. I definitely encourage everybody to go to all the games, but that one is, that one was really fun. So we will see you next week, hopefully. We want to try and have a Christmas show for next week, get all festive, and let's have an ugly Christmas sweater show. She has the ugliest one ever, Ashley
like the
says.
radio station is doing Tacky Tuesdays now.
Yes, I would love to. I definitely want to wear my ugly sweater.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if we can do that. And check out our shows. Look on our Facebook pages, Beyond Incredible, Knockstrom Digital Media, and check out when our show times are. And we will be back next week. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, I miss when I get to do the show when I'm not here. So hopefully we'll see you next Saturday. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Happy holidays.
Bye.